Hey friends, it's Guy Hutchinson. This is Pointless Nostalgia, and today we're talking about ephemera. Like this, look at this. This is a brochure. I recently mentioned ephemera, and in the comments, Michael Walter commented that he had learned a new word. And I thought, you know what, maybe everybody doesn't know what ephemera is. And since they don't collect it, they don't, because there was a point where I was collecting it and I had no idea what it was. So I wanted to tell you about it, tell you what it is, and then show you some examples. I just grabbed a stack of things out of my ephemera drawers, which I'll talk to you about. But this is the item that kicked the conversation off. I showed this recently. So this technically is ephemera. This is a bag that you would get at Disney to put your stuff in on the Jungle Cruise. It's got a logo on it. It's all branded. The thing about ephemera is it's usually paper. And the idea is it's something designed to advertise in some way, but also designed to be disposable, designed to not exist for the long term. And so that's what ephemera is. So anything from a brochure, a placemat, a napkin with a logo on it, a receipt with a logo on it, the packaging that something comes in, these things are ephemera. I'm going to show you different examples of what I have, and we'll talk about each one. So this, the Movieland Wax Museum, this was in California. This place was great. This was in Buena Park, and they got, like, this is great. Like this artwork, today with the internet, you might be able to find all these pictures online, but there was a time where, there wasn't an internet. So if you went there, you got this brochure, told you to go there. If you saved this, you got all these cool pictures to look back on. I like that. Ed Asner with Wax Ed Asner. Which one's which? And then over here it says, "Who's crying now?" We've got Rhett Butler. It says, "Isn't that your boyfriend reaching out to comfort Sophia?" I guess Sophia Loren. You can't blame him. Her tears look so real. It's uncanny. But even so, maybe you should just march yourself right over to Mr. Gable for a little comforting. They're like splitting up couples in this brochure. They're like, your boyfriend, he's checking out Sophia Loren, so you better go molest her. Now, this place, they did not let you get up close. I know that's the big thing at Madame Tussauds. This place, though, is very good. If you like Madame Tussauds, like these glasses are always crooked. If you like Madame Tussauds with the very the very lifelike faces and everything looking perfect, this place was very much like that. I loved this place. I get what's fun about Madame Tussauds. The real thing with Madame Tussauds, like getting right up in a celebrity's face and just staring like this close, because it's so unnerving and so weird. All right. The thing about wax museums is, if you find one of those low-budget wax museums, and they're harder to come by, they're a hell of a lot more fun than any of this stuff. They're a heck of a lot. They're awesome. Because, like, you look and you're like, that's Clint Eastwood, I think. Oh, George W. Bush. Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense, too. I've told this story before, but when I was a kid, we went to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. They had a wax museum on like a boardwalk. I went to the wax museum, and in one sequence, they had it was like John Wayne, Clint Eastwood. It was like all these different Western guys shooting at each other, and the one group was behind a big rock or something, and I looked at it and I was like, something's weird about that. Like, it looks like it almost has things hanging on it, and I was like, that's a cigarette vending machine. It was like a cigarette vending machine that they painted to look like a rock. And then I went to the next room, and boy, I wish I had a picture of this. It was Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Ronald Reagan, and Jimmy Carter, and they were all lined up in the Oval Office with the Declaration of Independence on the table in front of them, and they were each holding a big pen for which they would sign it. And you can't tell me that Madame Tussauds or Movieland can hold a candle to that. All right, More ephemera. This is Disney ephemera. This I got my wife's grandparents used to bring back a lot. They collected ephemera. My best friend Dana Snyder, I think that's why we're good friends, because I think when you collect ephemera, anytime you meet somebody that collects ephemera, you're like, finally, I'm not weird. Fine, but I am. I know I am. But this is Disneyland Hotel Stationery. Look at this. Look at that. That's super cool. And so you would get this in your hotel room, and you would write notes to the people back home. And you'd get little envelopes and the paper. And like you could see this, like where something, this was probably resting on this for 20 years. But yeah, it's great. And this is like a stack of it. So I got a lot of blank pages. Then I have a smaller notepad. And so this is one with like the glue on the end, a little bit like this other one was just loose paper. Then look at this. This is cool. A Disneyland Hotel shoe mitt. Now, if you also agree this is cool, then we're connected. If not, you could laugh at me. But to me, this is super cool. So this is a shoe mitt. So I guess you'd stick your shoe in here. I don't know if you maybe you polish it with this. Maybe put this on your hand. But this was a shoe mitt. This is my shoe mitt. Here is the guest room telephone directory. It says how to use your telephone dialing instructions, and it tells you for local calls, you wait for the dial tone and then press 9. For room to room, you just, let's see, the room numbers and telephone numbers are exactly the same. How easy. And then they have all the information. Now, here are the restaurants that were at the Disneyland Hotel at this point in time. Chef's Kitchen, El Vaquero, the Oak Room, the Coffee House, Maisie's Pantry, and Shipyard Inn. They have a number here for Western Union. Here are the shops and also the recreation and the airlines. Oh my goodness, listen to this. Airlines, Air California, sure. PSA, Trans World Airlines, Western Airlines, Eastern, are they still around? I don't think they are. Continental, they're gone. For recreation, you had pedal boats, racquetball, tennis. For shops, they had the Candy and Nut Shop, the Children's Shop, which was also called Dumbo's Trunk, a drugstore, Toledo Arts and Crafts, Toledo Arts and Crafts. All right, this one's much more recent, Cirque du Soleil, see it now before it ends. And it says it went to 2017. This was Nuba. I did not go to see one of these. I got tickets to go see it. I didn't see it. But I did see Paul McCartney, and he had something like this open for him, and they said it was connected to that. It's like acrobat clowns, like whatever. I mean, this stuff, it was a hard sell. Like we did, I think it was the dining plan gave you free tickets to this at one point. And it was like, well, I could go to Disney or I could see this, you know, or if it was late night, I could go to the Adventurers Club or I could go to this. Not for me. Here's one, the Southport Raw Bar. So this one, I would say this is also, this is very modern. You can see there's a website address, but this is ephemera because a bumper sticker is meant to go on your bumper of your car and then, be, worn out over time. It's not meant to last. Sightseeing, this is the Gray Line. You could take the Gray Line. It was a sightseeing bus. And, oh yeah, this is the Queen Mary and the Spruce Goose, back when they were both owned by the Rather Corporation, which owned the Disneyland Hotel. And eventually Disney owned both of them, but now they're both in Long Beach then. The Queen Mary's still in Long Beach. Spruce Goose flew the coop. It's in some other area. There we go. Look at this. The 2017 Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Guide. Park map. I love these things. These are my favorite. Here's like a small brochure. Look at this. The Movieland Wax Museum, 3 attractions for one price. This included the Palace of Living Arts, which was like a wax museum, from what I can understand, a wax museum that was located next to the Movieland Wax Museum. But this one was all like famous paintings, but done in wax museums. So like the Palace of Living Arts, because you could sort of walk through the paintings. So that was, and I believe it was a wax museum. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. California Plaza, the casual outdoor place to eat and drink. When I went, the Movieland Wax Museum was still open, and it had at least a year left before it closed. I love that place. I went through it. It was so big. I have another brochure of it, and look at this. Look at this brochure. Ronald Reagan standing behind Mr. T. That is the 80s. This is one of the things I wanted to see when I went there. So I had read online that they had a Mr. T wax statue, right? But I was going in, it was like in the 2000s. So I thought they might have taken Mr. T out by this point, replaced him with somebody else, or, redid his hair and face, took his gold chains off and called him something else. And so I went there and I walked through and I got to the end and there was like a horror section. I was like, oh, I guess Mr. T's not here anymore. And so then I went back to my hotel and I was talking to some people there and I mentioned it. It came up in conversation and the guy was like, no, Mr. T's there. I've been to that wax museum within the past few months. I know Mr. T's there. So I was like, all right, I could go back. I got to pay it for admission again. But I walked through that whole thing. I don't know how I missed him. So I call on the phone. I said, hey, do you have a wax statue of Mr. T? And the woman puts me on hold for a long time. And then she comes back. She goes, no, I'm sorry, we don't have a wax statue of Master P. And I said, no, not the rapper Master P, Mr. T with the gold chains. And she was like, oh yeah, no, we do. And I was like, are you sure? Because I went there yesterday. I didn't see him. She was like, no, I walked by him today. He's there. So I went back, and what I found out was I had missed a third of this museum, which is saying something. 1/3 of the museum I had completely missed, and I didn't feel ripped off. That's how gigantic this place was. I miss it. I did a video of it, actually the first video I ever posted on YouTube, so you can see that on the channel. It's got a lot of views. It's just music over top of it, but it's a video I took of that. Look at this. It's just great. Hang this up. All right, let me give you a few more. There's a Disney Springs ad. This looks like one you would get inside your hotel room. So these are super disposable. I mean, they never expect anybody to save these. So here's another one. A lot of people collect these postcards. So these are all from the Movieland Wax Museum. So that's very good. Look at that. Sammy Davis Jr. and Frank Sinatra. It's pretty great. I think I just tilt them this way. Yeah, there we go. Mae West, come up and see me sometime. What's this one? Oh, Marilyn Monroe. This is great. And this wax museum was open for so long that a lot of these, they had like the real people would come and see them like on the dedication day. Look at that. There's a Marilyn postcard. This is just 20th Century Fox postcard. See the price here. Woolworth, 50 cents from Woolworth. Remember Woolworth? And to think about it, the price tag itself is like separate ephemera, separate nostalgia. Oh, look at this one. In the Stars Hall of Fame of the Movieland Wax Museum, Bela Lugosi as Dracula, as well as Helen Chandler as his victim, Vincent Price preparing a lovely for the House of Wax, and Boris Karloff as the monster in Frankenstein. Here's when somebody brought me back from Tokyo, which I love. I don't know who brought me this. I know Dana's been there. I know Milo's been there. I know some people have been there that I know. I also got one once. I was taking a Disney tour in Orlando, and there were two cast members from Tokyo, Japan, and I started like talking to them through their interpreter, and they giggled. There was two young ladies who giggled at everything I said, which made me very happy, because I was like, I don't know if this man, I wish I was in Japan. Apparently my jokes translate much better into Japanese. But they gave me one, but I feel like it would have been before this. But like, look at that. That is super cool. It's upside down too. That is still super cool. I mean, look, I can't read it. It's the same picture was the only thing I could tell. Here's another one. Look at that. Donald. Look at that. I love that. All right, here's another one. So these are all, I just pulled these out of the drawer. I do not keep these in order, and I first started to keep them in order at one point in time. And what I realized was if I put these all in order, I'm done looking at them. Why else do I need to look at them? You know, I reach in, I know what's going to be there. I can look at that one thing that I have in my mind or whatever. But this way, I grab a bunch of it and I'm like, whoa, look at that. I didn't expect that. That's what I want. So I found that that's like my way of enjoying them. All right, this is a sightseeing thing. NBC and Universal Studio. Oh, look, Lion Country Safari, that's gone. Marineland of the Pacific, the Queen Mary. Man, some good stuff. Yeah, here's the Queen Mary. It says, a delightful tour to visit the most famous ship, the RMS Queen Mary. I love that. I went on there and they had this thing called Tibby's, which was like a performance. I don't know if they're like I don't know if they're famous outside of that area, or I don't know, but they did a show on there and I thought it was really good. And I remember there was like 4 guys maybe in the cast, and one of them, you know, very memorable. Like I saw him, I was like, yeah, that guy looks familiar. And then I saw the Dapper Dans and I was like, that's the same dude. That's the same dude. He was in the Dapper Dans. Disneyland, Lion Country Safari. Yeah, this is great. And I just love, like, look at these pictures. I don't know if the lion's going to get them. That's got to be the Wax Museum. Stagecoach holdup. Maybe that's Disneyland. It's definitely not. It might, oh, you know where it is? It's probably Knott's Berry Farm. That is not the Lion Country Safari. They're like, then the lion comes and kills all of them. Here's like the shuttle schedule. The fun bus at Knott's Berry Farm. It's only $2. Airport service. It says effective June 20th, 1978. This is an old one. This is from Disneyland's birthday year. Sorry, not a winner. You'd get your ticket. Find out if you were a winner. Hangar Bar Coaster. Look at that. This is from the Hangar Bar at Disney. Ticket booklet from Disneyland. Look at this. The A tickets are gone. The B tickets are there. The C, the D, the E. Let's see what an E ticket attraction was in this booklet. America Sings. It's a Small World. Yes, indeed. Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, I mean, short lines for those now. But Jungle Cruise, the line's always crazy. Enchanted Tiki Room. Look at that. E-ticket. E-ticket. It was an E-ticket attraction. Yellow Cab Company. Look at that. That is ephemera. Nobody saves that. Disneyland. You go to Disneyland. Call your cab service. And then the last one, I got these walking around New York when I was a younger man. Tickets for Dangerfields. They gave these out, and I didn't use them, so I saved them. Dangerfields, I'm sure, is gone. Man gets no respect. Right now, a box is going to pop up here and one over here. You can choose either one. I'm going to sit here and put my ephemera away. I'll see you next time. Look at this. Look at this. Here's one more. Cypress Gardens for those who didn't click. All right, now click.